Imagine working 80 hours a week, while the man who's supposed to help you sits at home watching movies. Imagine seeing his house lights on, while your husband is still outside struggling with a broken dairy machine in the freezing dark. And now imagine the moment I snapped, when I found a way to make his quiet movie nights turn into absolute chaos. And the best part? He still has no idea I'm the one doing it. If you've ever worked harder than someone who still acted like your boss, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real revenge stories, and tell me in the comments, what would you do if someone kept taking advantage of your kindness? Okay, let's jump into this. I always believed family farms had two things: hard work and respect. But my brother-in-law, Mark, had neither. My husband and his younger brother grew up on the same farm. Their dad was slowly handing the farm over to both of them. But only one of them truly deserved it, and it wasn't Mark. My husband, he works like a real farmer. Not part-time. Not when he feels like it. But from before sunrise to long after sunset. 70 to 80 hours a week, every single week. He fixes machines. He handles paperwork. He manages the animals. He solves the problems no one else even wants to look at. He is the brain and the backbone of the entire farm. And then, there's Mark. Mark works maybe 45 to 50 hours a week. And even when he's there, he complains. He avoids doing tasks. He hates being told what to do, yet wants everyone to treat him like some big boss. Imagine a toddler with a grown man's body, that's Mark. Harvest season recently ended, and it was a nightmare. We needed hands. We needed coordination. We needed teamwork. But every time we needed Mark, he magically disappeared. As soon as the sun went down, his truck would be parked at his house next door. His living room light glowing like a sign saying, "I quit. You handle it." And that made my blood boil. Our houses are right next to each other, old farmhouses built practically side by side. When my husband was still out working in the barn at night, I could look out my window and see Mark sitting inside, laughing at movies, relaxing, eating snacks, while the farm that feeds his family was being held together by my husband alone. Every night that I saw that, a tiny piece of respect inside me burned away. It wasn't just the workload. It wasn't just the laziness. It was the routine disrespect. Mark would roll into the barn hours late and say things like, "Relax, I'll do it later. You don't need to tell me how to do my job. I know what I'm doing." But he didn't. He never took initiative. And everything still fell on my husband. Meanwhile, I helped with bookkeeping along with Mark's wife, Sarah. She had little kids at home, so we usually worked from her house. That meant I had her Wi-Fi password. Our houses were so close that sometimes my phone would stay connected to their Wi-Fi even when I walked back to my house. I never thought much about it. Until one night. A freezing cold night. When my husband was out in the dairy barn at 11 p.m., fixing a major issue alone. I looked out my kitchen window. I could see his headlamp in the dark barn, flickering as he moved around equipment. Then I turned my head. And there, through Mark's living room window, I saw him. Feet up. Blanket on. Watching a movie like he was on vacation. While my husband was covered in mud and grease and stress. My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. My face got hot. My hands started shaking. Inside my head, one sentence repeated over and over. He doesn't deserve this farm. Mark wasn't just lazy. He was disrespectful. Ungrateful. and acting like he was the boss of something he barely even worked for. My husband, as tired as he was, still defended him. He'll grow out of it. He's still learning. He means well. But I knew the truth. Mark was taking advantage of my husband. And he felt untouchable. I stood in my dim kitchen, watching Mark watch his movie. And then I heard a small ping from my phone. It said, "Connected to Sarah's Wi-Fi." And everything clicked. A slow, dangerous smile crept onto my face. You see, we both used Roku TVs. And I had used the Roku app before when we misplaced our remote. If I connected to the same Wi-Fi network, the app could control any Roku device nearby, including Mark's TV. My heart beat faster. I felt a rush, not anger, not sadness, but excitement. Not destructive, dangerous revenge. Just something petty, harmless, beautifully annoying. So I turned the lights off, sat on my couch, opened the Roku app. A menu popped up. Select a device. Living room TV, Sarah and Mark's house. I tapped it. It connected instantly. I whispered to myself, "Let's see how much you enjoy your movie now." My finger hovered over a long list of apps. Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, and then PBS Kids. Perfect. Not scary. Not dangerous. Just embarrassing and childish enough to ruin a lazy man's cozy evening. I clicked it. Across the yard, through the window, I watched Mark freeze. His movie stopped. The TV flashed, then turned bright with colorful kids' cartoons. I covered my mouth to stop myself from laughing. He stared at the screen. Confused. Annoyed. Trying to figure out what happened. I watched as he grabbed his remote, clicked back to his movie, and settled down again. I waited. 10 minutes. Then I hit PBS Kids again. He sat up straight. Looked around his living room like a ghost had touched him. Pressed buttons faster. I waited again. 5 minutes. Then I hit it a third time. From my window, I saw him get off the couch, bend down behind the TV, unplug something, replug something, swear under his breath, and shake his head violently. At this point, I was laughing silently so hard I nearly fell over. For the first time in weeks, I felt pure joy. And it didn't stop there. The next night, I did it again. This time he got so frustrated he took the batteries out of the remote and slammed them on the table. The third night, he even yelled, "What is wrong with this thing?" And I whispered from my dark kitchen, "You." Let me be clear. I didn't ruin his life. I didn't expose him. I didn't sabotage the farm. I simply made his relaxing movie nights a little less relaxing. And slowly, things began to change. Mark started staying at the barn longer. Not because he suddenly cared about work, but because he was afraid his TV would keep acting up. He told his wife, "Maybe the Wi-Fi is bad at night. I shouldn't come home so early." His wife encouraged it. My husband noticed too. Mark's been helping more lately. I don't know what changed. I just smiled. Because here's the truth. Sometimes the best revenge isn't big or loud. Sometimes it's not fireworks or explosions. Sometimes it's PBS Kids. Sometimes it's reminding someone that laziness has consequences, even if those consequences come in the form of cartoon frogs dancing on their TV at 11 p.m. And the best part? To this day, Mark still believes his TV is haunted. And I, the quiet farmer's wife who never complains, sit in my house sipping tea, knowing something he doesn't. You don't get to act like the boss when you don't even show up to work. Revenge doesn't always need to hurt someone. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge is simply giving someone a taste of the chaos they cause. And trust me, a lazy man trying to fix a haunted TV is one of the funniest sights in the world. If you enjoyed this story, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me, what's the pettiest revenge you would have done? And if you want more real stories like this, make sure to turn on notifications. See you in the next one.